Welcome back, family, to Buzzworthy Veterans. I'm your host, Ant Stroud. Today we have the honors of sitting with Craig Ames with Abel Bean Law. Thanks for being here today, Craig.
Thank you.
So, as a veteran, what was your service? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I served sort of in the Middle Ages. I was in the service in 1969, active duty on the Marine Corps. I was one of those few people, instead of sending me to Paris Island, they sent me, of all places, to San Diego.
Oh, yes.
I had to look that up on a map because I was from Chicago. So I served primarily in an air controller division. So I served, for example, on El Toro Naval Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina, and then sort of back to my hometown in Chicago at Glenview Naval Air Station.
Wow.
And we supported the flyboys in the ground units on air controllers. So I served in the reserves then until 1975, and I practiced law at the time with Walgreen drugstores, the Walgreen family.
Wow.
So I handled litigation and disability matters since 1970.
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for your service and paving ways for military members like myself. As a Navy corpsman, I have had the honor of serving with Marines for several years, and I actually grew up in San Diego, and my first duty station was at Camp Pendleton, and I was working with Marine recruits when you guys would come up to the range and to learn about the field and do all that dingy stuff. I was up there doing medical treatment for y'all, so I definitely understand that experience. When you went to San Diego, what was that like, being from Chicago, experiencing San Diego?
That was essentially my first time on a plane. I actually was a little bit older. I was 25 years old and in law school at the time, and I decided to enlist because I wanted to finish my schooling. So the Marine Corps allowed me to do that. So I served in a ground unit. I kind of liked the experience because I was older, because most of the recruits, enlisted recruits, were 17, 18, 19 years old, and we're primarily high school graduates. And it was kind of interesting because when I was in the platoon at the time, they made an announcement and embarrassed me and said, "Congratulations, you passed the Illinois bar exam." And those DIs never touched me after that day.
Yes,
I was
you
like
had
as
power.
good as
You had
gold.
power. Well, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about being a lawyer, who, your firm now and all that stuff. How's that going for you?
Yeah, I enjoy practicing law because I practiced law more than 50 years. I primarily handled employee relationship, labor relationships, employee benefits, and I got to travel around quite a bit, really throughout the world pretty much, but working on discipline issues, termination issues, labor strike type of issues, and I got real interested in military service of our veterans who work for the company.
Nice.
So I have always had an affinity to help disabled people ever since. Now I'm in private practice, retired though working, because I missed actually practicing law.
Yeah.
So I've joined the other forces, meaning not the corporate forces, but the individual practitioners source. And we do a lot of charitable work with local veterans here in Jacksonville.
That's awesome. How did you end up here in Jacksonville? If you're from Chicago, you traveled everywhere. How did you end up picking Jacksonville?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Actually, I retired to California. And while in California, my older son got married, and his wife actually developed very serious cancer.
Ugh.
So we thought while she was pregnant with her first child, they were living in Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
So we decided to move from California to Jacksonville, and we've been here ever since. And she went into remission after going through Mayo's treatment program.
Awesome.
And we enjoy our grandchildren here.
That seems to be the case because when we moved here, me and my wife, we had no kids. Then we had kids, and my my mother and her parents, they all lived in San Diego. So now they are all transplanted over here when we started having kids. So it seems to be the case for Jacksonville. So they probably should run a campaign is when you have kids, you just transplant to Jacksonville and
Exactly.
grandkids. Well, thank you so much for being here. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would they go ahead and do that?
Yes, I work with Abel Bean Law Firm, and I just frankly use my cell phone, 904-654-3518. But we're a, a law firm of about 11 attorneys in downtown Jacksonville.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the family.
Thank you.
All right, family, that does it for this episode of Buzzworthy Veterans. I'm your host, Ant Stroud. If you want to learn more about Craig, please visit iwannabuzz.com. And remember, always vets, always family. See you next time.